Well, hello to all you miniatures enthusiasts out there on the interwebs. I am Doc Eon. This is Monday, the 23rd of November, 2020, and I'm here to ramble. And as always, we're starting with finished minis this week, and you can see all of them. This is everything I got done this week. Well, it's not nothing. I mean, it's 8 minis. That's better than some weeks. And it's all a load of ducks. And it is the rest of those ducks from that Kickstarter by Star Hat Miniatures that I've been working away at. So this is mostly various warrior types. Only one standout, the monk here, who is not a fighter of some sort. Otherwise we have one with a lady with braids and a big hammer and a shield. Another lady with a big maul and giving a warning with one hand. She has some chainmail underneath her tunic as well. Here's a knight with, weirdly, a really big sword for one-handed use, but also a shield. And oh, you might notice on these two shields I've gone with my normal cheat. When I have a big blank shield that doesn't have a texture on it like this one does, I like to use old Warhammer 40k transfers, and this is some sort of symbol from that, and this is also from the Space Marine decal sheet. I think it's just a squad number, really, but anyway, this is more lightly armored, just shield and sword and board. Here's yet another lady duck, more Viking-esque with a horned helmet and dual swords, both sheathed though, and a fur cloak. And this guy is kind of Roman legionnaire looking with a big plumed helmet and a muscle cuirass, which I painted bronze just to make it look a bit more fancy. And finally, here's a knight with definitely a two-handed sword. I'm thinking I painted this as chainmail, not hair, because I think it's a coif coming down from the helm, and I'm assuming under this coat he's got some more armor. But then he has this huge freaking greatsword. So, fun miniatures. As I've mentioned many times before, the sculpts are not... They're a little kind of exaggerated. I could almost say sloppy in the detailing. Which makes me not... I mean, it works for these anthropomorphic animals type of minis. I'm a little wary of getting any of their human miniatures. I don't know if that would work, really. But, you know, I'm trying to avoid buying very many new minis anyway. So, that got done. And let's move on to showing you where I am with the final of the minis you've seen me start before. There's only one left, and I think, and we'll get to that right now. And here's the big tree man. I've added some stuff to his base, as you can see, and I've primed the whole thing with my airbrush. Now, I'm not sure how much you can see because of the very strong lighting here. There's actually, the sun is out today, unusually for this time of year. So there's two different colors here. I primed them sort of olive green on the body, but there's patches of brown. That's because I decided I went with a brown for the base, and when I was doing that I saw there were some places that needed touching up. And honestly, the exact color of the primer isn't going to matter much because I'm going to put on many coats of paint. You know, I'll look it over and see if I need to touch up the primer with brush-on primer as well. And then it's on to painting. Maybe probably a base coat or two with the airbrush, and then dry brushing the heck out of this thing. Again, I'm not gonna promise that it's gonna be finished by next week. This is a big project. It very well might take 2 weeks at least more. We'll see. And here we're looking at the stuff I showed you in blister packs and the like last week. I said I would start up, and I have started it up. And in the back here we can see the lighter primed minis, the little creatures. I think a couple of these are actually very small lizard men, and this one is some sort of goblin. And here's the ranger. And then we have all the gargoyles, which I have primed in black. This is actually, well, it's actually both black primer and a very thin coat of airbrushed black paint on, just to make it completely black, none more black. I don't often prime black, in plain black, but with these I thought it was appropriate because they are going to be various shades of gray, all of them, and so having a black base is quite helpful actually, because as you can tell, I mean, there's lots of cracks and stuff in there that should be dark and deep for contrast. So, well, like the tree man, these are going to be dry brushed largely. There's a few of them have details that have to be painted a different way because, like, for example, this one actually has some hair, weirdly, some clothing and some equipment, for example. As also, I think one of the others has like a chainmail piece on him. So, well, but mostly this is just stone, so it'll go pretty quickly. And that's all the projects in progress. Now I'm a little disappointed in no new arrivals this week. I was almost sure that the next Midlam Miniatures Kickstarter would be here by now with some more hobgoblins for me, but probably next week. So in the meantime, I have to start up some new projects to prep for next week, and I think let's continue to chip away at the Stonehaven Kickstarter. Now that I've finished the Star Hat Kickstarter with the ducks, let's go to the half-orcs. Now this little blister is only 3 minis, and only 2 of them are actually half-orcs. We have a real brutish guy here, a more dapper looking gentleman half-orc here, and this guy is not a half-orc at all, or girl actually. This is a creature in D&D known as a Wemmick, which is a lion centaur. It's like a centaur with a lion's body instead of a horse's, so it's much lower to the ground and smaller overall. Goofy creature, goofy looking thing, but this is just about the only Wemmick miniature I know of, so it's kind of unique in that regard. Also, apart from that, next Monday is going to be the 30th, which means the very next day is going to be the start of December. So we have to start thinking about winter-themed minis and Christmas-themed minis. So I went into my big box of Reaper Christmas minis, and I pulled out a little selection of stuff to start. We have the Goblin Carolers, which is 3 minis singing and, well, dressed in sort of semi-Victorian garb. We have the Winter Fairy. I think her name is supposed to be Joy, but anyway, it's kind of like a sylph, but it's supposed to be, her dress is supposed to look like snowflakes. Actually, she's on the picture here, the illustration is her as well. And then we have some Christmas present. We have the dragon with stocking, which is a little dragon with a Christmas stocking, big stocking. And we have the cat dragon from 2019, which has a small Christmas tree being weighed down by the cat dragon sitting on top of it. So yeah, so that's 1, 2, 5, 6 Christmas themed minis and 3 not, 3 general minis. That should be enough to keep me busy, I think. And yeah, there we've reached the end of this week's episode. Short but sweet. Hope you enjoyed it. Click like if you reached this far. Subscribe if you haven't done so. Share it with anybody you think might like it. Comment. And of course, most of all, be back here next week to see my progress. Same day of the week, same channel, same Dakayan, who is now signing off.